plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common Man, Common Man, charms the housewives like no one can. What you shoot, where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello.
Chicago's a tough guy town.
Quack, quack.
Rocky.
You just have to draw your own conclusions, people.
Brilliant. Genius. Idiot. Moron. Imbecile. What a Morris. Thank you, Copenhagen. Thank you, Baghdad. Thank you, Oslo. Thank you, Rio de Janeiro. Thank you, Acapulco. Thank you, Havana. Thank you, Transylvania.
Is wearing women's underwear part of your turn-on?
Yeah, baby.
Oh. You listen to Cooley?
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do!
You know how reporters and columnists are? They want the controversy. They want the negativity.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing what a sophisticated offensive game plan looks like. You talk about...
Rosa, you don't know nothing.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
You know what I found out, Genevieve? I think regular listeners realize we're doing a complete renovation of iHeart Minneapolis. The number one reason they did is they had to rebuild the door entryways to each room, particularly this studio. Because it got to the point, I don't know, I've grown over the past couple of years. You know, they talk about late growth spurts. You know?
Yeah, you're a late bloomer.
Yeah. You know, somebody they'll spend, I've heard of this. One of the Tomes kids. Which Tomes kid was it? Sid Tomes. I don't know. You probably don't know the name. Cedric Tomes is in his senior year at Eastridge. Baby brother Peter played with him for a couple of years. He's going to play at the University of Minnesota. He had 53 points in a game the other day. Great shooter.
Is that good?
Well, it's not like the kid in Arizona that had 103 quarters, but it's still a lot of points. His brother Sid, I think, went to the Air Force. May have played football there, but he was a good basketball player, too. He had a growth spurt, apparently, between his junior and senior years, like about 6 inches. You've heard that before, right? Where somebody out of nowhere, somebody will be like, they're 6 feet tall, and the next thing you know, they come back the next year and they're 6'6". They just have but that usually happens still when you're an adolescent. My growth spurt happened in my 60s. I think I spent way too much time, instead of preparing for my show, I was bending Brett Blakemore's ear. And then Alec Lewis, too. Oh, I got Lewis going again. We got a lot to talk about. He goes, what's that? And I go, and then he said, what, 4 running backs? And then
I always love that one.
He didn't say I was right, but he understands my philosophy. I told him, I said, the $40 million just for this season, the biggest waste of a contract and money in the history of pro football was Justin Jefferson for $40 million. $40 million for one player who they forced to get and I'm not blaming Jefferson. He's as good as it gets as far as a wide receiver. He might be the best in pro football. Eventually, he might go down as one of the greatest or the greatest wide receiver in the history of pro football. But because of circumstance beyond our control, because of circumstance beyond his control, they had to force the ball to him in that last game of the season to get to his 1,000 yards receiving. Important to him, I guess, keep that streak going alive, right? But if that would have just been a regular game where they were just calling it, that never would have happened. If you had 4 $10 million running backs, that's $40 million for 4 players. It's like a 2-for-1. Don't you like 2-for-1s? Like Tennessee, for instance, let's say you had a chance to pay for 2 rounds of golf, get 2 rounds of golf for the price of 1. You like that? You like that? Kirk Cousins would say, yes, I like that. So anyway, I got Lewis going on that. And I did talk about how literally, and you and I have discussed this many times. Bill Parcells and the New York Giants, they won, was it 2 or 3 big games? I think they won back-to-back big games, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe not. Run the ball, have a great defense. He won a Super Bowl with Phil Simms quarterbacking and Jeff Hostetler. Hostetler was only slightly better than McCarthy. And they won a big game. Well, because they had their priorities in straight. Control the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. It's boring football, though, for the average person. Like, you're a fantasy football player.
Yeah.
You like 43-40. You like when you look at your fantasy and guy goes, whoa, I got 180 points from him. He scored 3 tutties and rushed for 118 yards. So you like that. You like that. And I understand that if you're a fantasy football player. And the league knows where their bread's buttered. They go, fantasy football brings more eyes to our sport, which means more revenue for us. So let's go ahead and make it easier for the offense. Even if, though, I think the purists in NFL, they don't like it either. They actually have to, after every 43-41 game, they got to go hose themselves off to wash the dirt from their bodies because they don't like that. Defense is it. And that's what Parcells believed in. Here's how Parcells, and Zimmer wanted to do the same thing, and it worked for a while. That's why he didn't like the quarterback position either. It killed him. He hated having to pay a quarterback. Giants win the toss, elect to kick off. Kick off 3 and out. Get the punt, put together an 8-minute drive and score a tutty, 7-0. Kick off, force a 3 and out, another 8-minute drive up 14-0. We're at halftime. Other teams run 6 plays. Maybe they picked up 1 first down. And you do that the second half, and then final score, Giants 21, Washington 3. That's how you win championship games. Don't let the other team score. And you don't need to pay a quarterback $40 million, a wide receiver $40 million a year, and a quarterback $40 million. Why would you want to spend $80 million on 2 guys when you can win that way? It works, it can. But I'd rather take the other approach. But it's boring. Fans don't like it. Well, that's okay. There was a quote I was looking for that I still can't.
Just for accuracy's sake, JJ's getting 35 a year.
Okay, 35. All right. 35. Okay. Well, my running backs, I'd pay one of them. I'd pay each 2 of them 7.5, and then I'd get down to that 35,000. There's just different ways to play football and different ways to win. You can disagree with me, not like that way to do it, and that's fine. I just know your running backs, generally speaking, will stay healthier, fresher. And yeah, when you can switch off where you have a bulldozing back, a breakaway back, a guy that can catch up, you just confuse the other team. You're suddenly bringing in a fresh back who can do so many different things. But that's neither here nor there. It's just about controlling the line of scrimmage. That's what it's all about. That's where you win your games, and that's where I think the Vikings, more than anything, really ought to focus on that, like the best teams do. The ones that win world championships usually are the ones that have the best offensive and defensive lines year in, year out, and that's basically the best way to go about it. But I saw, just talking about building a team that you think is going to win, and oftentimes it's not what the fans want. I want to find it, because remember I was talking about the Carmen policy guy and then his son Ed, who runs the Packers? I think it's the Packers he runs. And what he said is he learned from his dad, who ran the 49ers. You can't let public opinion dictate what you do. You have to do what you feel is best for the football team. Whether you're right or wrong, that's what you have to do. And that's why they traded Joe Montana. Policy was almost tarred and feathered and run out of town on a rail. What do you mean you're trading Joe Montana? It's what's best for the franchise. This is what Green Bay did when they let Rodgers go, right? And he left. I mean, they drafted Jordan Love. You've got to be able to make it's tough to do, because when public opinion is squarely against you, you got to, what's that old West thing they say, circle the wagons? And it can be a very lonely place. And it's sort of like in blackjack, hitting on a 17. It's risky. But sometimes you got to hit on 17 to win. When we return, we'll do a little peek at the purple. Lil B, Feminine Touch, 1 o'clock. Mr. Fun, formerly of the Fan. Remember?
Oh, boy.
Remember Tennessee? He's not a personality like the common man. Remember when Brian Lambert wrote that in that story I read the other day? That's a cheap shot against Mr. Fun, and I don't appreciate it. But Mr. Fun will join us along with Meat Sauce for Program Passport at 1:30.
Oh, boy.
But right now, Tennessee has a keyword for us.
The Fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is check. Enter now at KFAN.com. The 2026 Progressive Minneapolis Boat Show sails into the Minneapolis Convention Center January 22nd through the 25th. Check out a wide selection of boats and boating gear, must-see attractions, and fun for the whole family. Get the full details and find out how you can register for a new 24-foot DACA dock now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
13-14 pass. I'm Common. He's 10 to B. We're here until 3. Big ticket JG after that. A lot of different ways you can get a hold of us. 1-800-320-5326. Forget about it. Booth at KFAN.com, our email address. Forget about it. Talkbacks, we occasionally dip into those. I keep wanting to do a Talkback Tuesday, and a program director keeps reminding me of that. Maybe we'll start that again next Tuesday. Maybe not. History would say we won't, but maybe Tennessee can remind me of it too. It's really simple. iHeartRadio app, download it, find stations, search for them, find the Fan. When you do, there's a microphone icon in the corner of the screen. Tap it. You have 30 seconds or less to deliver us an audio message. And then there's the ever popular Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. What's that number again? 64? I don't even know the number. We used to have it posted in here, and I can't remember it. Do you know what it is?
Now you throw me a 64686.
I think that might be it, 64686. This one says, this year's playoffs had 12 quarterbacks of 14 drafted in the first round. Hurts was second round. Purdy was last pick. You need a high-priced QB to win me, boy. No, that's not correct. That's a false narrative. Most Super Bowl winning quarterbacks were drafted in the first round, but familiar with a guy named Joe Montana?
I've heard of him.
He was a third-round pick. How many did he win? 3? Or was it 4? He won 3 for sure.
That's the same minimum, yeah.
Maybe 5. Well, that was a third-round pick. Do you know Tom Brady? No. Brady. Oh, yeah. GOAT. You remember what round he was picked in, Tennessee?
That'd be the 6th.
You know what number pick he was overall? 199. 99. He was 199th pick. So don't trot out that stuff.
Even Russell Wilson, who won one and got there the next year, was a 3rd-round pick.
Correct. Johnny Unitas was selected in the 9th round. Brad Johnson, 9th round. Joe Theismann won 3, I think. He was 4th round.
By the way, why did they go from 9th round to 7?
I don't know.
Because they still go out and get undrafted free agents, so it's not like, hey, we don't need any more guys.
Yeah, I don't know why they did. I don't know. Maybe to save
Usually,
money.
yeah, I was going to say it's always a money decision.
So, so don't come here with that. That's just, I mean, that's right now, that's the flavor of the month. They have 12 of the 14 were drafted in the first round. Of those, can you name those 14 quarterbacks, Tenneby, that were in the playoffs this year?
Sure.
Okay, so why don't you just name them one at a time?
Sam Darnold?
No Super Bowl victories.
Matthew Stafford?
1 Super Bowl victory.
Brock Purdy?
1 Super Bowl victory. Does he even have one? Did he win one?
No, he hasn't won one.
So no Super Bowl victories.
Caleb Williams?
No Super Bowl victories.
Jordan Love?
No Super Bowl victories.
Bryce Young?
No Super Bowl victories.
Jalen Hurts?
1 Super Bowl victory.
Josh Allen?
No Super Bowl victories.
Drake May?
No Super Bowl victories.
CJ Stroud?
No Super Bowl victories.
Trevor Lawrence?
No Super Bowl victories.
Justin Herbert?
No Super Bowl victories.
Bo Nix?
No Super Bowl victories.
Aaron Rodgers?
1 Super Bowl victory.
Yeah.
So 12 of the 14 were drafted in the first round. None of them have a Super Bowl victory except for 2 of them. Was it 2 of them that we became?
Yeah, but Hurts is a 2nd-round pick, so that would even go against it. Aaron Rodgers is the only one.
So stop with the nonsense.
Stafford.
Yeah, and Stafford.
Yeah.
He was number 1 overall by Detroit. So stop with the nonsense. Just because I read the same story. So you saw that story, and then that's the final declaration where you have to have it's say, what's the word I'm looking for? Where it's like it's cut and dried. There's no debate. This is absolute positive proof that you have to have a high price paid quarterback or 1st-round pick in order to win the big game. No, none of those guys. Now one of them might.
One of them's going to win it this year.
One of them, but it might be Stafford who wins a 2nd. Right?
Could be Brock Purdy.
Yeah, it could be Brock Purdy. But as of right now, we have, we only, of the 14 that made the playoffs, only 2 of those ones that were drafted who were drafted in the first round were, and by the way, Rodgers was 24th, and again, that's still first round, but it wasn't like he was a top number 1. I mean, of those 14, how many were overall number 1s? Half of them? Were half of them number 1 or not?
Stafford, Lawrence.
Stroud wasn't, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he was number 2, I believe.
Okay.
Drake May was number 3.
Yeah.
Darnold was 3.
Yeah.
Bryce Young was 1 overall.
Okay. So, again, I mean, Lloyd, I'm not going to tell you that a quarterback doesn't matter or that it's, that generally the higher you pick in the draft, the better. That's like the Caleb Williams guy. Everybody said, the experts, generational talent. When you say generational talent, that is basically saying he is guaranteed to be a really good quarterback, at least, at the minimum, right? Because if you're generational, I mean, generation is 25 years. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks. You only see guys like this once every 25 years. And his first year, he sure didn't look like that. But again, so much depends upon what's around you. What's your coaching staff like, your head coach, your offense coordinator, defense. Defense plays so much of a part on how good your team can be, too. If your defense can't get the other team off the field, and you're giving up a lot of points, that means your kid's got to be even better than you thought. And then you got to throw the ball a lot. It's harder to throw the ball a lot because the other team knows you're going to throw the ball a lot. There's so many, there's so many different, by the way, this is brought to you by Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric.com. And remember, they are shockingly affordable. So there are a lot of different things that go into the equation for how a team wins a big game. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to tell me, would I rather have a top flight quarterback? I guess. I mean, I'd rather. But I still think number 1 is offensive. And I'm not the first person to say this. I didn't believe it for a long time. As long as you have great skill position players, that's what my fantasy tells me. Tells me guys with big fantasy numbers are the teams that win the big game. Well, generally those guys get big fantasy numbers because the quarterback's got time to throw. And they're running the ball so effectively, the other team doesn't know if they're going to run or pass. Play action works so brilliantly, they don't know what they're going to do. So there's so many different things that will work into the equation. But, you don't have to have a high-priced quarterback to win. You don't. It helps, and I would say that, if you can work the salary cap to have a high-priced quarterback and still win. You even seen with Mahomes, right? Mahomes is now making the big money. That's why you and I were for the last couple of years have been talking about it's best to have that QB on his rookie contract. Because then you do have the money. That's what they were hoping with McCarthy. He's on his rookie deal. If we can, that's what the Vikings were trying to do. If we have a guy in his rookie deal that's pretty good, he doesn't have to be great if we got a lot of pieces around him and I can coach him up. Because then we have money to spend. The problem is they spent the money on the wrong guys, it looks like. Fries was the only guy that was there for every game and played pretty well. The other guys were hit and miss almost the entire season. One guy didn't even play much. The other guy we got, the center. So, in a perfect world, you have a high-priced quarterback, but it's harder to win when you're paying a quarterback that kind of money. Remember, why do you think another reason Brady was so successful was, remember, he was always making a lot less than the big quarterbacks because his wife, the theory was, well, his wife makes so much money when he was married to Giselle. It's like the Beyonce, who's her husband? Jay-Z. There are 5, we talked about this in Rock Talk, there are 5 musicians that are in the billionaire category. Jay-Z, when you got 2 in the same family, pretty nice, right? So when you got Giselle making more money than Brady was making, Brady could say, I can have a Gronk if I take $1 million less or $2.5 million. Sure. It's okay with me. Still making really good money. So anyway, we'll take a break. A Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric, affordable-electric.com. Tennessee, why is your Wild team in a rut? I'm going to give you however long the break is to think that out. We have 1 win in 2026. 1 win. No! And we're 3 weeks into January. I want to know what the problem is. Maybe you can tell me. We'll do that. We'll talk about that when we come back next here on The Fan.
First Avenue's Best New Bands is back January 17th. See the future of Minnesota music. Mother Soki, Sally Forth, and Sophie Hiroko, and many more. Doors at 6:30. Get the full details on the events calendar at KFAN.com.
1314 pastime common. He's Tennessee. Text message came in, and I'm not sure. Tennessee, I think you would agree with this, right? Sometimes in a text message, it's hard to understand if it's being sarcastic, if it's angry. You know what I'm saying? You lose something in the interpretation from when somebody's directly talking to you, right? Because this one says, last time the Vikings played the Lions, Goff was making $52 million more than Brosmer. Funny, who won the game? Is he trying to needle me because he knows I'm a Lions fan? I'll say it again. I'm a Lions and a Vikings fan. And it was more advantageous for the Lions to lose that game than to win. They have a 4th place schedule, losing that game. Vikings now have a 3rd place schedule, losing that game. Lions are picking 17th. Vikings are picking 18th.
I don't think he was trying to needle you. I think it was just agreeing with your point of undrafted free agent taking down a number 1 overall pick.
Well, he might be. But he also might be trying to needle me, too. It could be either way. But he's got the number wrong, too. He doesn't make $52 million a year. His salary for last year, his base was 18, his cap hit was 32. So it's still a lot of money, but it wasn't $52 million. What's wrong with your Wild club? Did they get clobbered last night?
Oh, they did.
Who did they lose to?
Winnipeg, who was last place in the division entering the game. I don't know how they're last place, but because they were a playoff team last year and have some talented players, including their goalie.
What was the final?
Ended up 6-2.
Empty netters or?
No. It was 6-1 going into the 3rd period. The Wild got one late from Johansson, like a meaningless goal to make it 6-2. But
do we need to put another brick in the wall?
Well, another brick in the wall instead is what we need. If you watch the game, the first 13 minutes, the ice was completely tilted in the Wild's favor. And they were as dominant as they could be. the Jets didn't get their first shot on goal until 6-7 minutes left in the first period. And frankly, didn't even have possession of the puck in the offensive zone. It was just completely one-sided. Wild were working them, but couldn't get a goal. And then the Wild get two kind of reckless back-to-back penalties, stick infractions with Boldy and Foligno, down 5-on-3. And then the first shot, I think it was technically the second shot because it was a rebound to Jonathan Toews. So all of a sudden, Winnipeg's up 1-0. It seemed very much like the New Jersey game where you were putting on them right away early, and then they score a goal, and it was almost like Winnipeg woke up at that point. They felt a little momentum. Maybe the Wild thought a little, here we go again. Wallstead, his numbers over the last 8-9 games or so, not good. His goals against average is near 4. His save percentage is around 87-88%. Now, last night, the first couple against him, there's nothing you can do about them. But he definitely is not playing with the same confidence and swagger we saw earlier in the season.
Is it possible that could go hand in hand with trading for a defenseman who's really not a defenseman? He's an offensive player, and he's not offering any help back there?
Oh, and he made a bad defensive play last night. The second goal, I didn't even mention. So Winnipeg scores with 6-7 minutes left in the first period on a 5-on-3. They scored their second goal with under 10 seconds left in the period on a play. Quinn Hughes apparently he wanted to watch the play instead of participate in the play. He turned the puck over and then just didn't even make an effort to defend. So Winnipeg scores with under 10 seconds to go, and then they score another one with 1.5 seconds. So they scored 2 goals in the final 10 seconds of the period. And at that point, you're down 3-0. Could not have less momentum going into a period. I'm sure the Wild got an earful in the intermission. But other than the Urov goal in the second period, they just couldn't ever climb up that hill, and Winnipeg got a couple more. And yeah, we're now starting into a pattern. When the Wild were playing well from November on, they were a defensive and goaltending juggernaut, and that has not been happening lately.
Dean Evason's available.
He is.
He doesn't have a job. Maybe it's time to go back to Dean.
Now, maybe the emailer that said Joel Eriksson Ek is the team MVP, maybe he can email again today because they're giving up a lot of goals when Joel Eriksson Ek isn't playing.
Yeah.
And he's your best defensive center.
Patience or panic?
Ultimately, it's still patience.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's a long season to go. Every Minnesota Wild season I've ever been a part of and witnessed has had a roller coaster of something. You don't just play consistently good for 82 games. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But definitely a little reason, you might ask me that same question a week from now, and if they're still spiraling out of control and the team they got tomorrow night is the Buffalo Sabres, who have won 15-17. They're the hottest team in the league. Yeah, they could start to spiral out of control a little bit.
This one says, look at Goff's cap hit for next year. It's quite an increase from this year. Well, sure. But you know what will happen there? They'll renegotiate, turn it into a signing bonus, and his cap hit will probably stay where it is or even lower. Plus, some of these guys, like a guy like Goff, I think he's smart enough to know,
he needs help.
I need help on that offensive line really bad because I'm just getting clobbered back there. And we don't have our center anymore. It seems like, and Decker might retire. Did you see it? They showed it, one of those emotional sound bites where he's in the locker room after the last game. And he was doing the old, guys are laying it on the line. I've laid it on the line. I just don't know if I can do it again. He talked about how much every single day, it's a great piece to watch. If you see what these linemen do have to go through, hyperbaric chambers, and they're doing, they're constantly, once the game is over on Sunday, it's immediate 3-4 days of just getting ready to play the next game. Forget about physically getting ready to play, and then doing it again, and doing it week after week, and then the short weeks. I'm kind of doing the idolizing and pedestalizing how hard it is to play in the NFL, but for those offensive linemen in defense, especially the offense, it is. And he was basically being honest and saying, I just don't know how much longer I can do it. He doesn't have any time with his family. it's just constant. And he's like, he likes the money and everything and the competition, but, been doing it, 8-10 years, whatever it is. It's like, that's why some of these guys say, I'm out, man. It's not worth it anymore to me. So you lose him. You've already lost Ragnow, one of the best centers in pro football. You lost Zeitler to free agency last year, the mahogany guy that they drafted. They like him. He's a second-round pick, but he wasn't really very good last year. So if you're offensive, so most quarterbacks are smart enough to go, yeah, go ahead. I've already made millions and 100 million, whatever the number is, and that's good. I want my money, but you know what? Yeah, I'll go ahead and do a signing bonus and take it a different way in order to get some help on that offensive line, right?
I mean, I have to imagine, to your point, of how badly they get beat up, right? I mean, it's 60, 70 times a game they are going head-on collisions with 250 to 330-pound men. Nonstop. And they're all in tight quarters. So the amount of times you're like getting rolled up on and someone's landing on your knee and twisting it. And then we don't even talk about during the off season and probably throughout the regular season, how much they have to do just to maintain that level of weight.
Correct.
Right? Like, you saw Matt Burke after he retired, how much weight he lost, right? Like these guys are forcing calories and having to eat a certain amount of foods nonstop to be a certain size. I mean, that's a lot on your body. And then, take away the Minnesota Vikings because our offensive linemen don't play through injuries, it appears.
Yeah.
But it seems out of all the positions out there, those guys are playing beat up all the time.
Correct. Well, you see them. They'll have these.
They're just, your ankles wrapped up. Yeah.
They have brace contraptions on their elbows and on their knees, and they're just so they can go out and play one more game. So they can give, So, I think, having a healthy offensive line, and it's hard to, but if you don't have the Lions offense, that's going to be their biggest problem. That's why, their skill position players are great. Their defensive secondary is as good as any in the league when they're healthy, and they can't stay healthy either. It's all about depth. But if you don't have an offensive line with quality guys, you're just in you're going to struggle. There's no question. You're just going to struggle. So, I guess then, as far as the Wild go, it's just a wait and see. Now, meanwhile, the Wolves, Edwards will not play tonight, which I don't mind that.
3 in a row now?
Yeah. It's, he played the other night when he had the game when we beat, will this be 3? I thought this would be 2 games. Well, regardless. But he's had, I read the story today, Fish Fry Factory Westside. This will be like his 4th or 5th game all season. I think he's been off. In the last few seasons, he's only missed 3 games all year. They're calling it, foot management. And, I guess you have to pick and choose yours. I think they want him ready because they play, is it Houston tonight? And then they play San Antonio. And so I think they want him ready for the San Antonio game. Remember when Jimmy Buckets used to call, but he would try to tease the Wolves and chide the Wolves and he'd go, well, the Wolves are a skip game, Yeah. Because I think that's the way teams do look at it. If you're going to rest your guys.
That's who you load manage against.
If you're going to load manage, you look at the teams that, this game's not quite as important as, and I don't know, they're all important. They all count the same in the standings. But, the way it's starting is good as Wembanyama is. And if he continues to play like he does, the Wolves are going to be fighting them for that. It looks like OKC is going to get the number 1 seed, barring something really bad happens. So you're kind of fighting for that 2nd seed if you really do want it. And so that San Antonio is one of those clubs. I guess you could say Houston too, but I would say a bigger hill to climb would be San Antonio. Just got a text message from Meat Sauce. He says, you're not listening to anything Tenneby's saying. Well, that's not necessarily true. I heard a couple of things you were saying.
I always
about
love
the
that
Wild.
one.
I mean, I wasn't rapt attention.
One of these days, I'm going to start talking about a different sport in the middle of my Wild conversation to see if you catch on.
Well, yesterday, I can, and I didn't bring it up, but I can give an example when you weren't listening. We were talking about Babe Zaharias. And I said, her real name is, and then I gave her first name. Then after that, as I was talking about it, you went to Wikipedia, goes, her real name is Myrtle, or whatever it was. And I was going to say, I already said that, but I didn't.
That's okay. You can call me out on it.
Yeah. No, but I'm just, I know, but it was because.
I acknowledge I don't listen to you all the time.
But yeah. So that's all I'm saying. So it's like, I definitely tune out. Sorry, but it happens sometimes. What else was I going to say? It was Wolves related. Now I can't remember what the hell I was going to say. I blame it on you. Here's what I wanted to talk about. This is so good. And I'm right again. You saw the statement from Rory McIlroy, he's changing equipment?
No, I did not see that. Is that a big deal?
Well, yeah, especially when you see what he changes to. Rory McIlroy makes this equipment switch for the first time in his career. Rory McIlroy starts a season in Dubai. It's no real change how he's handled each season the past few years, but he has changed his equipment. For the first time in his illustrious career, the 29-time PGA Tour winner has opted not to start a tournament with blade irons, the pinnacle of professional golf equipment, and instead is introducing a set of cavity back irons. You know what those are called in the business tend to be? Helper irons.
My first set was one of those.
Cavity back irons. I'm actually trying a new set of irons, which I'm very excited about at this minute. It says, starting his career back at the Betfred British Masters, a young and slightly more sturdy McIlroy rocked up with a set of Titleist 660 blade irons, thinner than the knives in your best silverware set. And since then, has either used variations of Titleist, Nike, and TaylorMade blade irons in his setup. I would suggest Ping, but that's another story. From time to time, he's added a more forgiving, longer iron, but now as McIlroy embarks on his 19th year as a professional, he's gone full cavity. Here's what he says. If there's help to be had, I'll definitely take it. Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while. And even in Dubai at the end of last year, I had a couple of 5 irons that I misstruck slightly. Instead of it maybe coming up 5 or 7 yards short, it was coming up more like 10, 15 yards short. Yeah. So I asked the guys at TaylorMade to build me up a set. And I actually went down to Australia with them. And with that firm turf down there, I felt like those irons were going through the turf better than the blade irons. And that flies in the face. And I've talked about this before, Teneby, where your recreational players or even guys that play competitively, amateurs, your club champions all around the state, such like that, they all want to play blades because they think that's what good players play. Because apparently, what I'm told, if you are a really good player and a consistent ball striker, a blade iron offers you the opportunity to control the ball better. You can hit draws on command. You can hit cuts on command. You can shape the ball better. But that sweet spot is really small. It's like the size of the fingernail on your pinky finger, while on a cavity back set, the sweet spot's probably about the size of the nail on your big toe. You know, it's the difference between a 50-cent piece and a dime, right? Guys like you and me, maybe you can. I haven't seen you play in a long time. Maybe you can hit the sweet spot every single time.
Clearly I can't.
That's what I thought. I can't either. I've told this story on the air before. I'll recant another tale. Bill Israelson, one of the best male golfers ever to play out of the state of Minnesota, won 3 state AMs back to back to back. Had his tour card for a while, but didn't fare very well. I think he was 2 years on the tour. Tough to play on the tour, Teneby. It really is. But we'll find out. It's not so difficult when you're Adam Thielens of the world and Tony Romo's get on tour. That'll be a different story. But Billy won he played in Thailand for a while. He won the Thailand Open. He in 1992, he was on the leaderboard, 3rd round, U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. I'm playing with him back in 95 up at the old I's 80s, and I noticed he's got these Ping, the O blade, and I got the blades. He's got the O size, which stands for oversized, but they don't like to say that because it makes that manufacturers for marketing don't want to call it oversized because then you don't want to play it. Optimum size is what they called it. And I looked in Izzy's bag and I go, "You're playing the O blades, huh?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Well, they're easier to hit." I look in my bag and I got blades. I go, "I'm playing blades. Should I be playing those?" He goes, "Of course not." Then I called out Ping Guy. He was going to be my fall guy. "Why'd you put me in those?" He goes, "You asked me to. I told you to play the other one." Because I thought I was a player. "Oh, I can play. I need to shape the ball. One of the top 10 golfers to ever come out of the state of Minnesota, male, of all time, since Hickory Shafts, played on tour. He's playing oversized clubs. Rory McIlroy, could you, other than Scheffler, are those 1 and 2 in the world, do you think?
Yeah.
Second best player in the world says, I'm going to go with cavity backs. So you, club champion at, what's the name of the golf course on Caddyshack? The hell's the name of it? Why can't I think of it? It's a funny name for a golf course. But let's say you're the club championship at Tennessee Hills. You're the club champ.
Is it Grand Oaks Golf Club? Or no, Bushwood Country Club.
Tennessee.
It was filmed at Grand Oaks Golf Club.
Bushwood. If you're the club champ at Bushwood, keep playing those blades. Go ahead, knock yourself out. But I just thought that was interesting because this is a headline story. Is he one of 6 players now to win the golf's Grand Slam? He's playing cavity backs. Why? Because they're easier to hit. Now, I'm not trying to stop people. I'm just trying to change the manufacturing world. All the manufacturers, stop making those blades for these people. Of course, if that's what you want. I'm even now going to go to the Ping has all sorts of cavity back clubs. I think I got the 440s, a couple years old now, 3 years old. There's even like the 730s. Ping guy said, here, take these and give them a try. And I didn't, but I still have them sitting there. Those are they look like snow shovels. They're even easier to hit. Guess what I'm going to use next year? 730s. And here's another thing. I was always told that graphite shafts in your irons were for just old guys and slow swing speeds. I've read stories now that that was the old days. The way they manufacture graphite shafts now, there are advantages to graphite shafts that even really good players should play, even people with swing speeds that are above a certain amount. So that's why, in Tennessee, I think you agree with me, that's why I highly recommend getting fit for your clubs. That's what you need to do. You need to sit.
I am in the market, so I do need to reach out to Ping Guy.
Well, I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah. I would like to be more comfortable hitting it straighter and longer.
Are you? What I'm more comfortable hitting it straighter and farther as well. So, anyways, but I just thought that's a big story in golf that a guy would do that. And you know how Tennessee, that's why these manufacturers pay these guys so much money to play their equipment, because now I guarantee you're going to see cavity back golf club sales go through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are going to go, McIlroy's doing it. I would say.
That's why I wonder if he's making a financial decision with this. Maybe he's like, I'm going to go play these and win with these, and then I'm getting a cut out of.
It could be strictly that. I think he's the kind of guy, because if he was strictly about the money, he would have went to LIV. Because he would have been the highest paid player on LIV by far.
Yeah.
So I think if he was really just all about the money, he would have went to LIV. He's made plenty of money. And, again, like we've talked about before, when you make $100 million in your career, you start investing that money, you double that, triple that, quadruple that. Money, I think, would be one of the furthest things from his mind. I think he plays for legacy and championships. I could be wrong. But yeah, he might be. It might be there. If the sales of these clubs go up, you get X amount of dollars. I don't know if it would be enough to make him, sacrifice his results on the golf course for his bank book. I just don't know if he'd do that. We'll pause. We'll come back. Lil B, feminine touch of the program. She joins us next year on The Fan.